The whisper came while his hands were still shaking from blood loss. Her breath warm and uneven near his ear, as she said she was not clean. And when the cloth slipped from her fingers, the human's heart stopped because the universe suddenly felt too honest to survive. He had already been broken long before meeting her. A failed soldier left behind after a border war no one wanted to remember. His leg ruined by shrapnel, his squad dead, his name erased so cleanly that even records pretended he never existed. And he lived alone on a decaying station at the edge of human space where forgotten people were sent to wait for death. Humans passed him without seeing him. Patrols ignored his calls. He survived by habit, not hope, eating recycled food, counting days that had no meaning, believing the universe had decided he was already finished. When the alien ship tore through the station's shields and crashed into the outer ring, he did not run because running required purpose. And when he found her in the wreckage, bleeding, shaking, wrapped in torn cloth, he expected violence, fear, or hatred, but she only stared at him like someone who had been hunted for too long and finally accepted the end. Every story he had been taught said she was an enemy, a cursed species blamed for destroyed colonies and vanished fleets, but enemies did not look that afraid, and monsters did not cry quietly while trying to stand on broken legs. He helped her because his life no longer felt valuable enough to protect, and because loneliness can make compassion stronger than fear. She spoke little at first, her voice soft and strained, her words careful, as if every sentence might betray her, and when human patrols arrived, she hid behind him instead of attacking, which confused the soldiers enough that they laughed and shoved him aside, calling him useless, calling him broken, calling him a traitor for even standing near her. When he tried to speak, they struck him down and dragged him across the metal floor, leaving him bleeding and chained while she escaped into the shadows. And as pain blurred his vision, he believed she would never return because no one ever did. But she came back when the lights dimmed and the alarms slept, lifting his body with shaking arms, hiding him among broken conduits while drones searched above. And between quiet breaths, she told him fragments of truth, that her kind were not invaders, but survivors of a human experiment meant to create perfect empathic soldiers, beings who could bond instantly, understand enemies, end wars without blood. But the experiment went wrong because they felt too deeply, bonded too strongly. And when human leaders realized control was impossible, they called the project impure and ordered extermination. Those who escaped were hunted, blamed for disasters they never caused, cursed so the lie would feel justified. The human listened through pain and disbelief, feeling something break open inside him, because he had also been labeled defective, expendable, unworthy of repair. And he saw himself in her eyes more clearly than he had ever seen his reflection. Days passed in hiding, wounds slowly closed, and they shared silence more than words. But in that silence, something gentle formed. Not romance, not desire, but recognition. Two discarded lives acknowledging each other's existence in a universe that had moved on. He laughed for the first time in years when she asked what stars looked like from Earth, and she cried quietly when he told her humans once dreamed of unity instead of dominance. But fear does not sleep forever. The soldiers returned with heavier armor and direct orders from rulers who believed fear was safer than truth. And this time they took the human alive, chaining him in the open, broadcasting his capture as bait, promising forgiveness, medical repair, a return to human society if he revealed her location. His heart shook with temptation, because hope offered after years of abandonment can feel like mercy. But he stayed silent, and they broke him for it, beating him until his vision blurred, leaving him hanging and bleeding as a message to her. She came just as they knew she would, stepping into the open with trembling hands, begging them to stop, saying she would surrender if they spared him. And when they laughed, she leaned close to him and whispered again that she was not clean, not safe, not what humans wanted to believe. And when the cloth fell, the truth shattered the world. Her body was not monstrous, but marked with living light, scars that moved like stars beneath her skin, each one a memory of a bond formed and torn away, pain and love fused together. And the moment humans saw her, they felt everything she carried: grief from lost worlds, fear from endless pursuit, love denied by cruelty, guilt buried beneath obedience. Soldiers screamed and dropped their weapons. Some fell to their knees sobbing. Others fired blindly in panic. The human felt her emotions flood into him, not overwhelming but clarifying. And he understood then that her kind were mirrors humanity could not face without breaking. She stepped in front of him when the shots came, light flaring as her body absorbed the impact, collapsing into his arms as alarms died and silence returned. He screamed her name, chains breaking not by strength, but by refusal to let go, dragging himself to her side as her glow dimmed. And she told him her kind burned out when they bonded too deeply, that saving others meant losing themselves, and that she had chosen him because he already knew what it meant to be abandoned. He begged her to live. She smiled with relief and sorrow, pressing her hand to his chest, transferring not power but memory, truth, proof that he had mattered, that kindness still existed. And then the light faded and she was gone. The station felt empty again, but not cold. The soldiers never returned. Records changed. The truth spread through those who had felt her, and rulers who built empires on fear fell quietly when lies could no longer stand. The broken human was no longer invisible. He carried her story into the stars, not as revenge, but as warning and promise, proving that humanity is not defined by purity or power, but by the courage to protect the vulnerable, even when the truth hurts. And that sometimes hope is born when someone whispers the truth and another chooses to listen.